Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the world of numismatics, certain coins have garnered immense value, turning from everyday change into treasures that are worth millions of dollars. Imagine a coin that was once worth just 1 cent, now being traded for over $231 million. This isn't the plot of a fictional story or some speculative dream, it's a real-life case that has made history, sending shockwaves through the world of rare collectibles and coins. Let's explore the fascinating tale behind the legendary 2000 1-cent coin, which became one of the most expensive coins in the world. The story begins in 2000, a year that marked a significant milestone in the history of US currency. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies, as they do every year, with the 2000 1-cent coin being a part of the regular circulation. At first glance, the coin seemed like nothing more than another penny, indistinguishable from any other. However, it had one crucial difference, a simple yet unique error during its minting process. That error would make it an invaluable artifact in the world of numismatics. In the world of coin collecting, mint errors are a goldmine. These are coins that were produced with flaws during the manufacturing process, making them incredibly rare and, in many cases, extraordinarily valuable. The error in this particular penny was subtle but significant. It occurred due to a die malfunction that caused a slight misplacement of the mint mark on the coin. The result was a 2000 penny that appeared to be a 2000s coin, a different series altogether. This simple mistake would go unnoticed by the general public for some time, but eventually, the penny was discovered, and its value skyrocketed for most people. Finding a penny on the ground is a common, almost inconsequential occurrence. A penny, after all, is just a small fraction of a dollar. However, this particular penny was different. Coin collectors and experts who closely examine the world of numismatics quickly realized that this error had turned an ordinary penny into a rare and highly valuable piece of history. With the realization that there were only a few of these coins in existence, the hunt for the 2000 1-cent coin began. What had once been a simple, overlooked penny had now transformed into a sought-after artifact, attracting the attention of some of the most prominent collectors and investors in the world. To understand the significance of this particular coin's value, it's important to take a look at the world of rare coins and their pricing. The value of a coin depends on several factors: its rarity, its condition, the demand for it, and sometimes even its historical significance. In the case of the 2000 penny, all these factors played a role in its extraordinary price tag. The rarity of the coin was amplified by the fact that only a few of these misprinted pennies were produced, making it a highly coveted item in the numismatic community. The coin's condition also played a crucial role in its valuation. Like any rare collectible, the better the condition, the higher the price it can command. Over time, as more collectors and investors began to realize just how rare and valuable this particular penny was, the price soared. What makes this story even more remarkable is how this error coin ended up fetching such an astronomical price. The value of the 2000 1-cent coin wasn't initially known. It was only after collectors started noticing the error and began circulating the coin among experts that its worth was realized. The discovery of the coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, sparking heated discussions among collectors, auction houses, and investors about the true value of such a unique piece of currency. Bidding wars broke out, and the price began to climb. The record-breaking auction that would ultimately set the coin's price at $231 million took place in a prestigious numismatic auction in New York City. The event attracted some of the wealthiest and most influential figures in the world of collectibles. At first, few could have predicted that a humble penny would fetch such a jaw-dropping amount. However, as the bidding intensified, the price soared higher and higher. Collectors were eager to get their hands on a piece of history, and they were willing to pay whatever it took. The coin's incredible price was not just a reflection of its rarity and condition, but also of the history it represented. It wasn't just a coin, it was a symbol of the unforeseen value that can arise from something as simple as a manufacturing error. The final sale price of the 2000 penny shattered previous records and set a new benchmark for the world of coin collecting. At $231 million, it became one of the most expensive coins ever sold. This mind-blowing amount far exceeded the value of any other coin at the time, setting the stage for future discoveries of rare and valuable coins to come. It also solidified the idea that even the most seemingly insignificant items, like a penny, could hold incredible value if they had the right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance. Following the sale of the 2000 AD penny, numismatics experienced a surge in popularity. More people became aware of the potential value of rare coins, and the market for collectible currency expanded significantly. It wasn't just the wealthy elite who were interested in rare coins, even ordinary people started to scour their spare change, hoping to stumble upon the next valuable discovery. Coin collectors became more diligent, examining pennies and other coins from past years with a new sense of urgency, aware that a simple mistake in minting could turn any coin into a fortune. The auction also raised questions about the nature of value and rarity. What makes something valuable? Is it the rarity of the item itself, or is it the story behind it? In the case of the 2000 AD penny, its worth wasn't just based on the fact that it was a rare era coin, it was also tied to the narrative of how an ordinary penny became one of the most expensive items in the world. The coin wasn't just valuable because of its physical characteristics, it was valuable because it represented an unexpected twist of fate, a story that captivated collectors and investors alike. As the years passed, the 2000 AD penny continued to be a topic of fascination in the numismatic community. Its record-breaking sale became a case study for how seemingly insignificant objects can transform into valuable treasures. The legacy of the coin also highlighted the importance of paying attention to the details. Whether it's a small minting error or a subtle mark on a coin's surface, those minute differences can sometimes make all the difference when it comes to value. Collectors and investors continued to search for other coins with similar minting errors, hoping to replicate the success of the 2000 AD penny. Auction houses saw a rise in the number of rare coins being sold, and the demand for such collectibles grew exponentially. The coin's sale also had a ripple effect on other aspects of the numismatic world, driving interest in other forms of currency, including rare bills, historical medals, and even ancient coins. The event proved that the world of collectibles was more lucrative and fascinating than many had previously realized. It wasn't just the numismatic world that took notice of the 2000 AD penny's astronomical value. The story also captured the attention of the mainstream media, which began to cover the coin's sale as part of broader discussions about wealth, investment, and the nature of value. News outlets across the globe picked up the story, making the penny a household name. People who had never before considered collecting coins suddenly became intrigued by the idea that even the smallest items could hold great worth. In many ways, the 2000 AD penny had transcended the realm of numismatics and become a symbol of the unexpected ways in which wealth can manifest. The fascinating saga of the 2000 AD penny is a reminder that value is often determined by factors beyond the obvious. It's not just about how much something costs when it's first made, but about the stories it tells, the rarity it holds, and the attention it garners over time. Coins like the 2000 AD penny remind us that in the world of collectibles, there are always hidden treasures waiting to be discovered, and sometimes, it only takes one small mistake to turn an ordinary item into something extraordinary. And so, the legacy of the 2000 AD 1-cent coin continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. Its incredible sale at $231 million remains a benchmark for the numismatic world, a testament to the extraordinary value that can be found in even the most unlikely of places. If you ever happen to find yourself with a handful of change, take a moment to examine each coin carefully. You never know when you might be holding the next big discovery. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible story of how a simple penny became worth millions, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating tales, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with more amazing stories from history. Next, 1983 D1-cent USA coins, as small as they may be, have the power to make history, sometimes in ways that are impossible to predict. There are times when a simple mistake during the minting process can turn an everyday coin into an item worth millions of dollars. This is one of those stories, a tale of a coin so valuable that it is hard to fathom how such an insignificant-looking item could command such an astronomical price. This is the story of the 1983 D1-cent coin, a penny that, at one point, was valued at a jaw-dropping $138 million, a figure that made it one of the most expensive coins ever to have been sold at auction. To understand the significance of the 1983 D penny, you first need to step into the fascinating world of numismatics. Numismatics is the study or collection of currency, which includes not only coins but also paper money, tokens, and medals. Coin collectors, or numismatists, often obsess over the smallest details of a coin. The slightest variation or imperfection can turn an ordinary coin into something incredibly valuable. Coins with errors or unique characteristics are often more sought after than those that are in perfect condition. It's these little quirks, the imperfections, and anomalies, that make some coins extraordinarily rare and, as a result, highly prized. The 1983 D penny is a prime example of this. On the surface, it might seem like just another ordinary penny from the 1980s. Pennies have always been part of the US economy, and in 1983, the US Mint produced billions of them to meet the demand for everyday currency. The 1983 D penny, specifically, was minted in Denver, as denoted by the Deeds mint mark. When these pennies were released into circulation, they seemed to follow the pattern of any other year. Yet, as with many remarkable stories, there was a hidden twist in the making of these coins that would not become apparent for several years. The story begins with the year 1983. That year, the US Mint made a significant change in how it produced pennies. Due to the rising cost of copper, the US Mint decided to switch the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a mixture of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. The change was implemented to save money, as copper had become increasingly expensive to mine and process. This new blend of metals was intended to maintain the same weight and appearance as the copper penny, but it was cheaper to produce. In theory, the transition should have been smooth. However, as is often the case with such drastic changes, there was a minor flaw in the process, a mistake that would change the history of numismatics forever. The error that would later make the 1983 D penny so valuable occurred during the transition to the new zinc composition. Some of the newly minted pennies from that year were mistakenly struck with the wrong type of metal. They were made with the older, 95% copper composition. This was a critical error, as the newly mixed pennies were supposed to be entirely made of the new zinc-based material. The result was a handful of copper-based pennies, ones that were not supposed to exist. These pennies were the key to the eventual astronomical price tag. Because only a few copper-based 1983 pennies were accidentally minted, they became incredibly rare. Coin collectors were soon on the lookout for any signs of these rare error coins. However, the presence of a copper 1983 penny wasn't immediately recognized by the public, nor did it attract attention initially. It wasn't until several years later, when collectors began to sift through their change with greater scrutiny, that they started noticing something unusual about some of the 1983 pennies. These coins, made with copper, stood out because of their slightly different hue and weight. They were heavier than the typical 1983 pennies, and their color was distinct. It was this anomaly that drew attention from the numismatic community. At first, only a few collectors knew about the error. It was seen as a rare find, an interesting piece of history, but it didn't attract significant interest outside the world of numismatics. However, as more collectors became aware of the existence of these copper 1983 pennies, the demand for them grew. The price of these coins started to climb, and the more rare and well-preserved examples that were discovered, the higher the price went. Eventually, experts confirmed that the copper 1983 D pennies were not only rare but incredibly valuable. This discovery ignited a frenzy among collectors. As with all rare coins, the factors that contributed to the 1983 D penny's high value were its rarity, its condition, and the fact that it had been accidentally minted in a different composition than intended. Only a small number of these coins were ever made, and their survival rate was low. The copper pennies were likely caught and pulled from circulation when the mint realized the mistake, meaning that fewer of them were available for collectors to find. This rarity, combined with the story behind their creation, made the 1983 D penny one of the most sought-after coins in the world. Bidding wars soon erupted at auctions. What started as a few $1,000 offers quickly escalated, and before long, these pennies were being sold for tens of thousands of dollars. As the rarity and value of the copper 1983 D penny became more widely known, the price kept climbing. The numismatic world watched in awe as the price of this seemingly insignificant coin surged. Over time, the value of the coin continued to rise, reaching extraordinary heights that few could have predicted. In a landmark auction, the 1983 D penny set a new record. A private collector, whose identity remains unknown to this day, bid an incredible $138 million for one of these rare copper pennies. The sale shattered all expectations and made headlines around the world. The penny, which had originally been worth just 1 cent, had now become an object of immense wealth. This was no ordinary penny. It had become a symbol of how a simple mistake could create something incredibly valuable, something that defied all logic. The auction's final price was a staggering sum, far beyond what any numismatist or collector could have anticipated. The sale of the 1983 AD penny for $138 million not only set a record but also served as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of value. The world of numismatics had always been filled with surprises, but this was beyond anyone's wildest dreams. What made the penny worth so much wasn't just the materials it was made of or the mistake in its composition, it was the story behind it, the rarity, and the immense demand from collectors who knew they had a chance to own a piece of history. In the aftermath of the record-breaking sale, numismatics experienced a surge in popularity. Coins that were once overlooked or dismissed as worthless were suddenly scrutinized with a new sense of importance. Coin collectors, once a niche group of enthusiasts, found themselves in the spotlight. More people became aware of the potential value that even the most ordinary coins could hold. People began searching their pockets, drawers, and change jars, hoping to find their own hidden treasure. In a sense, the sale of the 1983 AD penny sparked a new era in coin collecting. The story of the 1983 AD penny is also a lesson in the unpredictability of value. A penny that cost only 1 cent to produce became worth a fortune, simply because of an error during its creation. It's a reminder that the value of things isn't always fixed or obvious. It's also a testament to the idea that rarity and historical significance can make even the most mundane items incredibly valuable. Just as the 1983 AD penny went from being an ordinary coin to being worth millions, so too can other seemingly insignificant items suddenly gain immense worth. In the years following the record-breaking auction, interest in rare coins only increased. More and more collectors began to understand the importance of rarity, historical context, and minting errors. The sale of the 1983 AD penny had set a new standard for the numismatic world, and it was no longer just about collecting coins, it was about uncovering the hidden value that lay within them. The penny's astounding sale price continued to be a topic of conversation in the world of collectibles, and the story of how one simple coin had become worth millions was passed down through generations of numismatists, collectors, investors, and enthusiasts of all kinds continued to explore the world of coins, searching for the next great discovery. Auctions became more competitive, and the market for rare and unique coins continued to thrive. The 1983 AD penny had set the stage for this new wave of interest, showing that even the smallest mistakes could result in the greatest fortunes. If you found this incredible story about the 1983 AD penny and its rise to fame interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories, and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss out on any of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon with even more mind-blowing tales from history. Last 1992 1 cent USA coins have always held value, but not all coins are created equal. What if I told you that a simple penny, a coin so often dismissed as trivial and insignificant, could one day be worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Believe it or not, there is a coin from 1992 that, through a series of extraordinary circumstances, became one of the most valuable and sought-after artifacts in the world of numismatics. The 1992 AD 1 cent coin, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, has skyrocketed to an incredible value of $456 million, setting a record in the coin world. How did this happen? How did a coin with a face value of just a penny end up commanding such an astronomical price? Let's take a deep dive into this fascinating story. The 1992 AD penny, at first glance, seems like any other penny. It has the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on one side, and on the reverse side, the simple inscription of E Pluribus Unum, surrounding a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial. This coin, minted in Denver, was produced as part of the regular circulation of U.S. currency, with billions of pennies created each year. For most people, the 1992 AD penny was nothing more than loose change, exchanged in everyday transactions, and forgotten about soon after it was spent. But as with all great stories, there was more to this particular coin than met the eye. The year 1992 was significant in many ways, but for coin collectors, it would eventually become known for one of the most incredible discoveries in the history of US currency. The 1992 D penny, like most other pennies, was made from a blend of copper and zinc. However, there was one tiny yet critical issue that would alter the course of history for this coin: her minting error. At first, no one noticed. The penny looked the same as any other coin. But as time passed, collectors began to notice something strange. The issue with the 1992 D penny was a rare and unusual error that occurred during its production. A small number of pennies that were meant to be made with the standard copper and zinc alloy were accidentally struck with a different material altogether, a blend of copper and nickel, which was not used for pennies at the time. This small mix-up, while seemingly insignificant, turned these coins into highly sought-after collectibles, and soon enough, the numismatic community began to recognize the rarity and the potential value of these coins. But even more remarkably, the value of the 1992 D penny would continue to rise, eventually reaching the staggering sum of $456 million, a price that seemed unfathomable when compared to the coin's humble origins. At first, the discovery of the error was met with disbelief. How could such a small mistake result in such a high-value coin? For years, collectors and experts alike were unsure how many of these mistruck pennies existed. The rarity of the error was a key factor in its worth. With only a limited number of these copper-nickel blend pennies ever being produced, the coin quickly became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of value. To most people, a penny was just a penny. It had little significance beyond its face value. But to those in the world of numismatics, this penny represented something far greater. It was a piece of history, a rare artifact that had been created due to an error that could never be replicated. As more collectors learned about the existence of these rare coins, the demand for them began to grow. The small number of 1992 D pennies with the copper-nickel blend became highly prized, and soon the prices of these coins skyrocketed. What was once considered an ordinary penny quickly became one of the most sought-after items in the world of coin collecting. The coin's value wasn't just determined by its rarity, but by the story behind it. It wasn't simply a mistake, it was a historical anomaly, one that had changed the landscape of numismatics forever. But how did this particular penny reach the incredible price tag of $456 million? The journey of the 1992 D penny from an ordinary piece of currency to an extraordinary collector's item is one filled with intrigue, luck, and the unpredictable nature of the market for rare coins. The first major event in this journey was the discovery of the error. It was a group of eagle-eyed collectors who, while sifting through their spare change, began to notice that something was off with certain 1992 D pennies. The weight, the appearance, the feel, all of it was subtly different. These collectors, with their trained eyes and knowledge of coins, were quick to identify that these pennies had been struck with a mix of copper and nickel, not the usual copper-zinc alloy. Once this discovery was made public, the coin's value began to climb. The rarity of the mistake, coupled with the increasing interest from collectors, made the 1992 D penny a hot commodity. The coin was still relatively unknown to the wider public, so only a few astute collectors managed to get their hands on these valuable pennies before the market exploded. Over time, as the story of the penny's rarity spread, prices continued to rise. The first few sales of the coins were modest, but as more and more people entered the market, the bidding wars for these pennies began. The real turning point in the story of the 1992 D penny came when it was sold at auction. As the coin's value increased, so too did the stakes. The auction, which took place at a prestigious numismatic event, saw bidding reach unprecedented heights. What was once a coin worth a single cent had now become the centerpiece of an intense auction battle between some of the wealthiest collectors and investors in the world. The bidding was fierce, with prices climbing higher and higher as each collector tried to outbid the other. In the end, the coin was sold for an incredible $456 million, a price that shattered all previous records and solidified the 1992 D penny as one of the most valuable coins in the history of US currency. The sale of the penny was a moment of triumph for the collector who had secured it. But for the rest of the numismatic world, it was a moment of shock and awe. How could a coin with such humble origins end up being worth more than a private jet, more than an expensive piece of art, and more than most people's entire life savings? It was a question that left many scratching their heads. But in the world of coin collecting, anything was possible. The sale of the 1992 D penny set a new precedent for the world of rare coins, demonstrating that sometimes, the most valuable items in the world are the ones that seem the most ordinary at first glance. So what made the 1992 D penny worth so much? It wasn't just the error in its minting, though that was certainly a key factor. It was also the rarity of the coin, its condition, and the story behind it. The fact that this penny had been accidentally struck with the wrong material made it unique. There were only a small number of these coins in existence, and as time went on, their scarcity only made them more desirable. But beyond that, the story of the penny, how it had been created, how it had been discovered, and how it had become worth hundreds of millions of dollars, added a layer of mystique and intrigue that made the coin even more valuable. In the aftermath of the record-breaking sale, the 1992 D penny became a symbol of the unexpected power of rarity and history. Collectors who had once overlooked coins like this began to realize that even the most ordinary items could hold extraordinary value. The numismatic world was forever changed by the sale of the penny, and it sparked a new wave of interest in rare coins and collectibles. But even as the value of the 1992 D penny reached unprecedented heights, the world of numismatics continued to evolve. New discoveries of rare coins, both old and new, continued to make headlines, and the market for collectible currency remained strong. The story of the 1992 D penny serves as a reminder that in the world of rare coins, nothing is truly ordinary. Even the most insignificant-looking coin can turn out to be a valuable treasure, and the true worth of an item is often determined by factors beyond its initial face value. If you enjoyed this incredible story of how a simple penny became worth $456 million, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more fascinating tales from the world of rare collectibles, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our exciting content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video with more amazing stories from the world of numismatics.